And generally, I think I would want to commend Ghana generally for high level of maturity because before the elections and even now, everything has been calm. For me, I think as a Nigerian, I can tell you it's an experience of two extremes. Um, the whole environment has been far from the experience back, the whole tense environment, the anxiety that we have had. And kudos also to the presidential candidate of the MPP, who early enough, I think yesterday in the morning, called and congratulated the president-elect John Mahama. So it actually calms things down. People are the largest, and already the outcome is known. So it's more of celebration. It's more of chit chat, and then people going about their business. But generally, I love the high sense of political maturity that has actually been exhibited so far. I think those incidents are regrettable. It's unfortunate because one is I think we need to get to that point where we see elections as just a game. That's one of those policy making process where you just one either how will I put it? Uh, Indicate your choice as to the leadership or policy direction of your country, because fundamentally that is what the manifestos communicate. This is where we think that the country should go in the next 4 years. And so when we begin to see elections from that perspective, some of these issues will be, particularly I think in the northern region and the central region, there were incidents, particularly the one with of the soldier. It's unfortunate. I think from first-hand experience, I mean first-person accounts that we got to hear on ground, uh, that actual incident was unprovoked in the first place. One for me is that citizens need to be aware that in the first place, these people, aside from the fact that this person is trained, is also that this person is armed. So in the first place, no matter the aggression, I think it's always important that even the holy book, the Bible says that wisdom is always profitable to direct. So for me, I felt it was careless. It's unfortunate. Nobody wished for such a thing to happen, but it was even careless in the first place for an unarmed citizen, even in the first place, to confront an armed personnel, not to even talk of military. I know that happened in the northern region, and there were also incidents of shooting that happened in the north central region. And then I think yesterday evening, around the hours of 5 6, there was also an incident where party supporters uh, gone to one of the electoral commission's offices, and for them the perceived delay in the electoral, I mean, the collation of results felt, and they felt that most likely there was that whole intention or plan to manipulate the outcome. But I think on the overall, beyond that, those pockets of incidents, like I mentioned earlier, it has generally been calm. Uh, at least there was a commitment from the leadership of the country to provide a free and fair environment where Ghanaians can exercise their rights without any fear or intimidation. And sincerely, all through Saturday, even down to the whole post-election phase where the electoral officers collate the results, we have seen that happen based on our assessment. Yes, the truth is, when you look at it in a larger scale, there are pockets of it, but is that significant enough to undermine the entire peaceful atmosphere? My honest and sincere opinion is no. So I think for one, Ayo, as a West African, I'm excited. One being that when you look at it, the past three elections that have happened within the sub-region, going back all the way from Liberia, all through Senegal, and to now Ghana, you would see there is one, that trend of opposition winning, one. But beyond the fact that opposition winning is also that you can see that the exhibition of that political maturity, where in Liberia, I know it was the incumbent president who was also the presidential candidate, calling the candidate of the opposition to congratulate him. We must celebrate that. And then you have also in Senegal, where the then incumbent president and also the candidates of the ruling party calling uh, the then and the president-elect, who is currently the president of Senegal, to congratulate him. And then you have also this. Now, so for me, it's really exciting, particularly given the trend and the negative narrative that has, um, how would I put it, been pushed out there regarding be it democracy in West Africa or elections in West Africa. At least this is a huge milestone. It's so there are is how would I put it, in a side conversation someone was asking, so does that mean that until when the opposition wins before we celebrate such elections? The answer is no. However, the most fundamental thing is that, be it whether the incumbent or the ruling party, whoever at the end of the day had emerged as the winner, it's that we are beginning to see a process that is, number one, peaceful, number two, credible, and then beyond that, also we are also seeing outcomes that are acceptable to the majority. And for me, that is a huge win. It is, because at the end of it, when you look at it, even centrally, for most of the issues we have been having in on the African continent, and then when you zoom in even into West Africa, you will come to see that fundamentally the trigger is down to contestation for power or disputed electoral outcomes. And so, since that we are moving gradually away from that, for me, sincerely, as a West African, as an African, this is very, very exciting. And I'm looking forward with all excitement to subsequent elections. I know there's Guinea-Bissau and Cote d'Ivoire next year, where such, will I say, culture or level of political maturity would be entrenched. Well, as to learning from INEC, I, let me say, permit me to refrain from speaking from that, because I'm not privy maybe to their own previous engagements, because I know they have a West African network of electoral commissioners. So most likely INEC must have provided some level of background support, because I know there is that level of collaboration and peer learning among them. But however, for me as a Nigerian, I would say reverse is the case, being that the Nigerian Commission has a lot to learn, in all sincerity, from this. Fundamentally, it's when you talk about how independent, if based on our engagements and conversations so far, in the first place, is that there is that will, first of all, to do what is right, because irrespective of the framework, irrespective of the technology, it's the fact that generally, be it the electoral commission, be it the political elite, be it the security task force, is that there is that way to do what is right. So fundamentally, for me as a Nigerian, both be it as a voter, be it as a civil society member, and or for those that are looking at it from the lens of electoral administration, is fundamentally the will to do what is right. So when we have that, then also we it's also the next step of how open are we to dialogue, to engagement. Because one thing is this: as an administrator, you would surely plan, and you would plan with the intention of a successful outcome. But surely along the way, as far as you are working with people, there will surely be disagreements. Now the question is, are you willing to embrace such criticisms and feedback to improve the process? Because we have seen that happen. I know my there have been series of engagements right all the way from October with the commission, and despite hitches here and there that has always been pointed out, they have always been willing to make corrections, to make adjustments. And I'll give you just one example. Now, before the elections, one of the main issue that was thrown up was the voter register, the integrity of it. And one of the things the commission did beyond their own administrative and legal mandate was to do another round of voter display and verification. Now that has never happened in the history of Ghana. So you could see that already, that level of maturity and that willingness to listen from the commission. So for me, that is a whole lot to learn from. But beyond that also, because when we talk of electoral administration, it's also electoral commission. Another important side to it for me would be the security, and I love I love the synergy I saw between the electoral commission, the civil society, and the security. Now you could see a professional police that was always in constant sync with these other organs. As issues are coming up, it is being addressed, and where there are gray areas or there are misunderstandings, you see that proactive engagement of releasing communications to clear the air. Now that is a whole lot, and for me, I can talk about my experience in Ghana, but in all sincerity, as a Nigerian, holistically. And when I say holistically now, I mean both as electoral administrators, the political elites, security, and even we as citizens. There is a whole lot to learn from Ghana. I think for me, key thing will be early voting. One, I may be privy to the deployment for the 2023 elections in Nigeria, and I know close to 2 million registered voters were disenfranchised because they were on active duty on election day. Now, when you look at the margin between His Excellency President Bola Ahmed Tinubu and the runner-up, you would come to realize that that is significant enough already to have, how would you put it, cancelled out the winning margin. So that is something going forward we need to look into. How do we incorporate early voting into our own system, particularly for those on essential duty on the day of elections? So by this case, I'm talking about the ad hoc members that are recruited by INEC. I'm talking about even the INEC staff themselves. I'm talking about security men and women that are deployed. You have also, let's not forget, even the citizen observers that normally deploy on election day. Now, you come to see that now cumulatively, I can tell you, Ayo, that over 2.5 million Nigerians for every electoral cycle are normally disenfranchised. So how do we incorporate early voting to ensure that these persons exercise their right to vote? And the key thing that you also mentioned is also inmate voting. Now, it's fundamental for us to know that when you're incarcerated, what is being taken away from you is your freedom of movement. So not the freedom of choice of either policies or leadership to rule you over a period of time. Because if I'm incarcerated in 2023, doesn't mean I will become a free citizen in 2024. So the question is, how do we also bring into our framework that opportunity for inmates to participate in that freedom of choice over their leadership and policies that govern them? That is another area we need to look into. But beyond that also, it's something very significant, and that is the fact that we don't have to shut down the economy. I know that because you could see on election day there was freedom of movement in Ghana. People were going about their business freely. So I know that would probably also warrant a whole lot of security implication and challenge for those managing electoral security, but it's something we have to look at what would work. I don't have the statistics. I believe those in the business would have a better idea, but I know that with every elections, the Nigerian economy bleeds. Now, This is also, let's not forget about the amount of money already injected or expended to organizing and executing an election. Now, when you bring an economy to a standstill because there are leaders that needs to be elected, then at the end of the on the whole, you now ask yourself, when you look at it holistically, the cost of having elections, then we need to ask ourselves whether if it is worth it. So for me, it's something we need to start looking at. I don't know how. At this point, I can't advise to say this is the way to go, but I know it's something that needs to be examined, and it's a key learning also we can take from that. And a key thing also that I need to mention also in terms of electoral administration, one of the things, the beautiful things I learned from Ghana is also the recruitment and training of their ad hoc staff. Now, it would amaze you to know that these young men and women go through the rigorous interview process you go through for every other job that you would want to go for. Now, there are specific set of questions they have to answer. There is a specific level of knowledge and capacity you must exhibit before you either shortlisted as a verification officer, as a presiding officer, and so on. And even for the training, also, we're meant to understand that they went through rigorous training. And in all sincerity, on election day, you could see how that panned out because you go to a polling station and you see people know what to do. Beyond even the fact that they know what to do is also when situation arises, they know how to respond. Like I said, Ayo, when we want to talk about things to learn, I can give you a compendium that a whole lot, but so far I think these are some of the things I can mention. I think on the whole, based on where I've observed and based on also news reports, I think the turnout is not as significant as it should be. In fact, some news reports has it that the turnout this time around was actually lower to previous elections. But when it comes to voter turnout in Nigeria, I have my reservations. Case in point being the 2023 elections. I think an updated, when you look at it based on perception, uh, I have cause to say that there is a significantly high level of participation in the 2023 elections compared to 2019 or compared to, let's say, 2015. However, the statistics says otherwise. So, and for me, it's two things. It's either the number is dropping because of the improvement in technology and the verification process, or probably also actually people are getting disinterested. But I would rather go with the former, which is that the whole improvement in technology, the whole improvement in technology is how would I put in helping us to verify the actual voters. And that brings me to the question of the integrity of the voter register in Nigeria. If you permit me, I would leave it at that.